Linda, whenever we're going to expand, you need a bigger room here, just so you know. But anyways, thank you very much for everybody being here this morning, and what a good turnout. So I'm going to get right to the nuts and bolts. I'm so delighted to have a real good friend that we both got elected in 2003 to join us today. And then I took a couple of years off, but she kept on going. And then she ended up with bigger and better things. So Deb, besides the premier, she really runs things. She's got control of the cash. But anyways, no, it's, first of all, Linda, thank you for allowing us here today, hosting this event, and we'll carry on, and I know we're going to talk about that later on a little bit. But Deb, MPP from, let's see if I get this right, London North Centre, right? Was elected in 2003. She is presently, she was a Minister of Health for a long, long time, and did a fantastic job. So now she's a Deputy Premier, President of the Management Board, and Minister responsible for poverty reduction. And, amongst all the other things, that's one of the things that I know that, it means a lot to me. And you taking the time to come down today and talk about, the next steps and where we can go from here. I think just it will re-energize the community. They are doing phenomenal things, but I know that after today and as we move forward, will be even better. So without further ado, Minister Matthews. I should tell you that when I met Deb outside the door, the first thing she did, she reached in her pocket and pulled out a pacifier. So I don't know if it was for me or somebody else, but anyways. But she was being a good grandma for the last couple of days.
Yeah, I spent the weekend in Peterborough with my daughter and her little family, one of whom is quite committed to her pacifier. So I stole one unintentionally. I don't plan to use it. But I am absolutely delighted to be here. And thank you, Lou, for that kind introduction. And thank you, Linda, and everyone at Cornerstone for hosting us today. I have what I think is a really important announcement to make, a province-wide announcement. And I wanted to come to Cobourg to make this announcement because Lou has been such an extraordinary champion of the work we're doing on poverty reduction. He, before that brief interruption, he was a real champion in caucus and in his community on recognizing that, A, we have a problem that we need to address, and B, that we can actually make progress in reducing poverty. So Lou has been just a tireless champion, and I wanted to come to Northumberland, Quinte West, to make the announcement with Lou to really acknowledge his leadership role on the work in poverty reduction. So thank you for that, Lou. I am also delighted that my parliamentary assistant, Chris Ballard, the MPP from Newmarket Aurora, newly elected MPP from Newmarket Aurora, who's doing double duty. He has 2 parliamentary assistantships, and I am thrilled that poverty reduction is one. We kind of snuck him when we really wanted Chris to focus on poverty reduction work. And so, Chris, thank you for the work you're doing, and thank you for being here today. We really, really appreciate it. And so delighted to be joined by such dignitaries and the leading members of this community. It says a lot that you're here with us today, so thank you for that. We are committed to poverty reduction. We're really committed to making sure that everyone has the opportunity to achieve their full potential. And that's, for me, what poverty reduction is all about. When people are living in poverty, they simply can't achieve their full potential. So what we want to do is give everyone what they need to be their very, very best. And I can tell you that we are making a difference. We released our first poverty reduction strategy in 2008, And we've made good progress, and we've demonstrated that government action does matter. At last count, 47,000 children and their families have been lifted out of poverty, and another 61,000 have not fallen into poverty as a result of our initiatives. And remember that that is through the greatest economic downturn since the Great Depression. So we have demonstrated that government action matters, and we know there is more we can and must do. One of the elements of our first poverty reduction strategy was a commitment, in fact, a legislated requirement, that every 5 years we develop a new poverty reduction strategy. And I was honored to lead the development of the first strategy, and doubly honored to lead the development of the second strategy. So what we've done, our first strategy was really focused on breaking the cycle of poverty for children. There was more in it, but that was our real focus. And that meant income, and that also meant education, because the best way to break the cycle is education. The second poverty reduction strategy that we launched in September takes a new focus, but we are continuing to carry on with our work in breaking the cycle of poverty for children. Our work there is not done. The second pillar is moving towards better employment prospects and income security, with a special focus on people with higher rates of poverty than the general population. The third pillar is one I'm very excited about, and it is, we've set ourselves a goal of eliminating homelessness in Ontario. There's good evidence that that's actually the smart thing, and I'll talk about that a bit later. And the fourth pillar is part of what I'm here to talk about today, and that is about getting serious about making our policy decisions based on evidence. So we need to put our money where it actually will have the greatest impact on people, and that's a part of what I want to talk about today. So in our first strategy, we laid out a number of indicators. Our new strategy, we've added 4 more. It's really important to me that we measure our success. As Minister of Health, I certainly learned that if you can't measure it, or if you don't measure it, you're not going to improve it. We know that the causes of poverty and the consequences of poverty are complex. And if we're serious about reducing poverty, our approach to poverty reduction must reflect and respect that complexity. We also need all hands on deck. Poverty reduction is not the exclusive domain of the Government of Ontario. Poverty belongs to all of us, and all of us have a role to play in reducing poverty. So whether we're individual citizens, whether it's all levels of government, the business community, service clubs, organizations like United Way, the nonprofit sector, when we all work together with a single goal in mind, we can achieve miracles. And that's what the fund is all about. We also know that poverty is very different in different parts of the province. Poverty in Cobourg looks different, is different than poverty in London or Toronto or Timmins. Every community is different, and we need local responses that capitalize on the enormous resources and capacity of the community and respond to the unique needs of people in poverty, community by community. So we've done extensive consultations. We've heard loud and clear that you want new ways to tap into local, community-driven solutions. You want to bring creative partnerships together, and you want to know that you're making a difference, that your efforts are having an impact. And that's why I'm very proud to be here today to launch the Local Poverty Reduction Fund. Through the fund, we're investing $50 million. That's a very significant amount of money, $50 million over 6 years to support innovative and sustainable community-driven initiatives that measurably improve the lives of people living in poverty. With this fund, we're doing things differently. We want to harness innovative local approaches to preventing poverty, and lifting people out of poverty. We want to build partnerships and unlikely partnerships within communities and across the province. We want to establish a new way of tackling poverty, an approach that's rooted in evidence. The Local Poverty Reduction Fund will focus on programs across the province that help those most at risk of poverty, including women, single parents, people with disabilities, young people, newcomers, visible minorities, seniors, and Aboriginal communities. And it will focus on moving the indicators in our poverty reduction strategy in a positive direction. I want to pause for a moment and talk about the challenges facing Aboriginal communities. And I'm delighted that Sylvia Maracle is here with us today from the Ontario Federation of Indigenous Friendship Centres. Thank you, Sylvia, not just for being here, but for all your work. She's a true leader, and if you don't know her, you should get to know her. She's a remarkable woman. So what we're doing, because the issues around Aboriginal poverty are so complex, we're actually earmarking a portion of the fund specifically for Aboriginal communities on and off reserve. We'll be working with Aboriginal communities and organizations on the fund and on projects within their community. So what we are hoping to achieve, and this is a bit of a leap of faith, right? Because we actually don't know what's going to come back from communities for these projects. But we really believe that communities will use this fund as an excuse to get together, identify goals, and form those partnerships. We're also wanting to learn from one another. So by identifying those local community-driven solutions to poverty, our aim is to learn from one another, to apply best practices across the province, and move us forward in our poverty reduction strategy targets. Today we're launching the first stage of a two-stage application process, because I know all of you are thinking, okay, how is this going to work? Lou wants all of the $50 million to come here, and I've already told him that Chris and I are wanting to split it 3 ways. But I know you're all going to be thinking, okay, how can we do this? How can we apply? So we're doing things a little bit differently. Because we've never done it this way before, we're inviting expressions of interest from organizations. So organizations don't have to devote a whole lot of time in an RFP proposal without knowing whether or not it's going to be a candidate for funding, because this will be fiercely competitive. I can tell you this will be fiercely competitive. But we're going to support communities through the process. We're asking for expressions of interest where you can come together and say, these are the partners, this is the problem we want to tackle, and then we'll go from there. Another different thing about our approach is that we're really putting a heavy focus on that evaluation. So we will be requiring third-party evaluators so that we can actually share that information, because not everything will work. And if everything works, it means we probably weren't imaginative enough, right? We have to aim high and we have to be prepared to fail. But collectively, I know we're going to learn a lot. So we're inviting organizations to submit an expression of interest about a sustainable poverty reduction project that they're interested in researching and evaluating. So let me give you one example. At Home Chez Soi, some of you may have heard the Mental Health Commission of Canada launched a program called At Home Chez Soi. The program provides homeless people living with mental health and or addictions a home of their own, using the Housing First philosophy, along with the supports they need to stay in their own home. They provide wraparound care. They respond to the needs of the individual. We've seen a dramatic decrease in ER visits, in involvement with the local police services. People, when they are housed, actually cost the system a whole lot less. In fact, the evaluation of At Home Chez Soi demonstrated that for every $10 invested in high needs individuals, there was a corresponding saving of $22. So it makes good fiscal sense. And here's where my job as president of the Treasury Board aligns with my job as being responsible for poverty reduction strategy. So it's improving outcomes for people living in poverty. I'll tell you about a fellow in my community in London who has been housed through the Housing First approach. He'd been homeless for 15 years. 15 years he'd been in shelters, under bridges, 15 years he didn't have a home of his own. The year prior to his being housed, he was at the ER 267 times, I think. He had had over 100 encounters with the police. Just think about that, 267 times in a year in the ER, often by ambulance. The year after being housed, he had 2 visits to the ER, and I think only 6 encounters with the police. So, that just demonstrates that it's right for him, for sure, way better for him, but it's better for the rest of us because those are precious resources that could be used elsewhere. So this is about doing the right thing for ourselves and for others. So we are gathering information, we're building interventions that work, we're fostering collaborative partnerships, and that is all what this is about. The lessons learned and the evidence gathered will help all communities, our government, and our partners design more effective programs using proven approaches. We're going to be asking successful proponents to share not just their results, but to share their data as well, so that other researchers can learn from their experience. So what this means is we're going to make a measurable difference, a tangible difference in the lives of individuals. We're going to join together as communities and saying together, all hands on deck in our community, we can measurably improve the lives of people and reduce poverty. So this is great news. It means a brighter future. I'm so delighted to know that you are already on this path, but imagine what you can do when you bring everyone in the community together with a shared target and a little bit of support from the provincial government. Thank you very much.
Hallelujah. Minister, I can guarantee you that this community is more than ready. So, and I know we'll get there. Chris, I apologize, my opening remarks, not to recognize you here, and the minister did, but Chris Ballard was just elected on June 12th, and he's taken on a very important file, and I know how committed he is, and we'll be talking, Chris.
Still not getting the whole 50 million.
All right, we'll share. No, so thank you for being here today. Very, very much appreciate it. And I know I have to be nice to him because I have to be in this community a couple of weeks doing another project I'm working on. So we better reciprocate here. At this time, Linda, thank you for once again hosting this. But I know you wanted to say a few words and about the good work that you do here at Cornerstone. This is one of the things that I always say that, I'm glad to be here. Well, I'm really not glad to be here because we wish we didn't have to, provide these services if there was no need. But thankful we have, places like Cornerstone that provide those services that for those folks that really do help. And I know I've been here in the past and seen the good work that you do. So, Linda, you wanted to say a couple of words.
Thank you, Lou, and thank you, Minister Matthews, for allowing us to host this great announcement of the Local Poverty Reduction Fund. We're very excited to hear that and to hear more information about it. And welcome to everyone else here to Cornerstone. At Cornerstone, we create the conditions for hope to grow. We are here to create safe families and build strong communities. We work to break the cycle of family violence by providing immediate shelter, counseling, and primary prevention services throughout Northumberland County. We provide a welcome and accessible environment. Everyone at Cornerstone is valued and respected. First, we put the basics in place. We offer immediate help. Next, we work with people to consider their options and choices. And finally, we offer services that help people build on the positive changes that they've started with us so that hope can take root and grow. As a fully accredited organization and a United Way member agency, we are committed to excellence and leadership in the field of family violence. Evaluation of our services and outcomes is key to ensuring that what we do here works. People know they can turn to Cornerstone to get what they need. We also believe there is a shared responsibility to end family violence. It's a community problem, and so we seek community solutions and support. Poverty impacts significant numbers of our clients, either throughout their lives, many come from generations of poverty, but sometimes they're faced with poverty when they leave their abusive relationship. The choice to leave is often a choice to live in poverty and a choice to raise their children in poverty. So we applaud the Government of Ontario for their poverty reduction strategy, which will impact so many families that we serve. And we're particularly pleased with the emphasis on the evaluative component, as it will ensure the best use of funds and strong results for families in need in our communities. Thank you all so much for coming to this announcement at Cornerstone.
Okay, so just in terms of this fund, first off, is this brand new $50 million
It's
fund?
brand new, $50 million. We've never done something like this before. So what we're really optimistic about is that communities will come together, will collectively design a strategy to actually reduce poverty in their communities.
They have to apply for this funding?
Yes, it will be competitive because a lot of communities are going to see some real opportunity here. So we've got some pretty strict criteria. We want projects to be focused on the indicators we've chosen in our poverty reduction strategy. So reducing homelessness, improving employment prospects for people who are facing challenges in that regard. So we're really looking forward to see what comes from communities.
Are there any limits to what a community can apply for in terms of money?
So we haven't got a limit, but we'll see what those projects are.
Minister, the first timeline is a little less than a month away. Do you find that's too quick of a timeline, or should it have been maybe extended a little longer for organizations to be able to get some ducks in a row to be able to apply?
So we know that some communities have been thinking about this and will be ready to go. But we're going to be doing a number of intakes over the course of the program. We're going to learn as we go along, because as I said, this isn't something government's done before. So we're going to ask communities to put together those expressions of interest, work with us to develop projects that actually do meet the criteria, and then we're going to do intakes over the next 3 years. So there'll be more opportunities for communities to put together more robust proposals if they aren't already in a position to apply now.
The fund is over 6 years?
It's over 6 years.
So
6 years.
there will be more chances for other groups and organizations that do came along or that couldn't put together anything.
Absolutely, yes, because we want these to be good, solid proposals, and we do know that in some communities it will take time to develop those partnerships. So we anticipate projects will be funded for up to 3 years, and we'll have a series of intakes, and we'll work with communities to get those proposals right.
Who are you looking at, or who are you thinking will be able to qualify or will qualify or put in an application for this?
Well, we're really looking for collaboration. So I'm hoping we're not going to see a lot of single organizations. What I want to see is, for example, the Chamber of Commerce and the United Way and service organizations and maybe the schools, or the real partnerships where a community can say together we can actually achieve an outcome in this community.
Now, are there any limitations as far as what the funding will go for, like capital improvements, operational funding?
So it's not about capital. It's about a big emphasis will be on the evaluation component. So we need these projects to be sustainable once the funding is over. What we don't want is to have excellent programs and then no plan to continue to fund them. So we're really looking at investing in that third-party evaluation, so we build the body of evidence. So there will be money to get the programs launched, but we're really looking for sustainable programs as well.
Now, what was the impetus that got this whole thing going?
Well, you know, Lou is, has been a wonderful champion of the kind of work, and Lou and other MPPs have, and in our consultations, we heard over and over again that what we need to do is come together and collectively tackle a problem. And I know the work that Lou has done is about bringing people together and about saying, what if we all imagine what we could do if the business community and the municipal levels of government and others in the community work together to achieve real positive change for people. So we know that there's a real thirst for this kind of investment, and as I say, it's a bit of we're taking a bit of a leap of faith on this one. So but I'm pretty confident it'll turn out positively.
But you know, if I may add, Deb, I mean, the fact that, you know, starting from the Premier down, the social fabric within this government, I've never seen it before. I mean, there is a real interest in the community, and I mean, when I meet with the local leaders here of all types, it is a government we take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Because no two communities are the same, even within our riding, this riding, no two communities are the same to some extent. So this is a fantastic initiative. I think we'll be able to see real innovative ideas come out of
Yeah.
this. That's what we're all hoping for.
You know, I'm a bit inspired by the Ontario Chamber of Commerce because they now have an award for businesses who hire people with disabilities. And so, you know, I think the business community is really starting to see that they've got a role to play. And so we got to bring everybody together.
Thanks, folks.